I'm very glad to be with you to celebrate your graduation. Я дуже радий бути з вами сьогодні. Буду говорити англійською мовою, щоб було точно, але хочу сказати перед всім, що думаю про вас і бажаю вам всього найкращого. I'd like to speak to you today about freedom and about truth and about what might appear to be a paradox, which is that when you're free, when you're a free person, you find sometimes that there's only one thing that you can really do. How can that be? How can it be that if you're free, sometimes there's only one thing that you can really do? In the Gospel of John, chapter 8, verse 23, Jesus says, "The truth will set you free." And it's not hard to see the many ways in which that is true. Amidst this horrible war, we're reminded that people to whom lies are told and who believe those lies become the instruments of others. They become unfree. During this terrible war, we're reminded that the lie leads to violence and violence leads to the lie, and that war brings a cycle in which people are unfree. But I think in those words of Jesus, that the truth will set you free, there's something deeper. Freedom, the truth, it isn't just the absence of something. Truth is not just the absence of lies. And freedom is not just the absence of violence or constraint. In that chapter of John, in the Gospel of John, the objection that is made when Jesus says the truth will set you free, the objection that is made is, we are free. We're not slaves. We are free. Why do we need the truth? The general undertone is something like, we are fine as we are. We're okay as we are. What do we need to know? And this is what I mean when I say that the truth isn't just an absence of something. Freedom isn't just an absence of something. When Jesus was talking about freedom, he was talking not about the absence of slavery, important though that is, but the presence of something else. We can see that in our political lives, where, for example, we hear a great deal about the freedom of speech. And of course, the freedom of speech is very important. But freedom of speech doesn't just mean that the government is not censoring you. Freedom of speech also means that you have something to say. Freedom of speech means the presence of knowledge about the world that you'd like to express. It means the presence of values which you would like to realize. Freedom of speech to be meaningful means that you have something to say about the world as it is and about the world as it should be. And what's true of freedom of speech, which I just use as an example here, is true of freedom in general. Horrible as slavery is, horrible as war is, freedom isn't simply the absence of these things. Freedom means the presence of knowledge in life. It means the presence of values in life. A free life is one in which we move forward making choices on the basis of what we know. affirming the values which we take to be the most important or the most appropriate in that moment. And so in a free life, where we know something about the world, when we seek to change the world in certain ways, we blaze a trail. We leave a trace. As we practice freedom over time, on the basis of our truths about the world, on the basis of our truths about the way the world should be, over time, we create this thing called character. Values over time with practice becomes character, a unique character, not just a personality, but a character. And when we have character, we sometimes find ourselves in a situation where we know what we must do, and that resolves the paradox. Sometimes freedom means that there really is only one thing that you can do. Freedom means a life of choices among values based upon facts. Freedom means creating a unique sort of self that perhaps one day will be in a situation where there is really only one good choice. So this is what I have to say at the moment of your graduation, and I've already said it. You've had the good fortune to study at UCU. You've had the good fortune to learn about the world as it is. You've had the good fortune to be able to think about the world as it might be. You will become who you are, and choices will be clear to you. I wish you that very much. Freedom means that you will do the right thing.